For more, let's bring in Bohdan Yaremenko, who joins me now from Kiev. He is a Ukrainian member of parliament and diplomat. Bohdan, good to have you on the show. So I was listening to Rahul sort of list the places where the counteroffensive is going on. I think you would agree that some military analysts could say that Ukraine's military advance is happening too quickly, perhaps overstretching its forces, and this could present itself as a vulnerability in terms of how this counteroffensive is going. Would you agree to that?
Not necessarily. I would rather say that the Ukrainian offense is not allowing Russia to concentrate on creating some defense lines, some huge defense lines. So it's quickly enough not to allow Russians to do what they needed to do in the under the conditions. But at the same time, I would call that Ukrainian advancement slow but steadily. We saw it on a number of directions, not in the Kharkiv region, because already the Kharkiv region is almost 100% liberated. Right now we're speaking about Luhansk, Donetsk, and Kherson region. So in all of those places, in some, of course, directions, not all over the front line, Ukrainian troops are slowly moving ahead. In some places like Kherson, most recently, their advancement was more prominent. So in 3 days, Ukrainian troops moved ahead and break through their defense lines for almost 30 kilometers or even more. But in Donetsk and Luhansk, Ukrainian troops are liberating a couple of villages every day, which is I don't believe it's creating us a problem with stretching our supply lines, defense lines, and so on.
Bohdan, tell me this. You have hundreds of thousands of Russian troops that are being called up for military service as part of this partial mobilization. The question is, where are these troops going to be sent? I want to get your opinion because, A, it could be to these 4 regions so that the Russian forces can counter the counteroffensive by Ukrainian forces, or B, which is something very interesting I just came across, is they could actually be sent to Belarus to launch a possible second assault or an attempted second assault on Kiev. Is that even a possibility, you think?
We have a suspicion that the number of troops that they're trying to mobilize would be far more than 300,000, which this number is discussed in the media. And we see it like Russians trying to fill the gaps wherever they have them, because they need to strengthen their defense on the right bank of the Dnieper River in Kherson region. They need urgently to strengthen their defense in Lugansk and Donetsk regions. And as well, we see, you rightly pointed out, some preparations taking place in Belarus. Right now, it's more of the constructions and logistical preparations taking place, but of course they are preparing some bases and some places to receive more troops. But of course they need much more time to train those troops, because we already see thousands of those newly mobilized men coming to the front line, and they're quite honestly, they totally unprepared. The ammunition is very poor, the morale is very poor, they're not trained properly, so we see more and more of them dying every day, or we already have dozens of them being imprisoned by Ukrainian troops.
Realistically, what's it going to take for Ukraine to sit down at the negotiating table? Because the President Zelensky said if Russia goes ahead with these referendums and ratifies this law, the possibility of negotiation is off the table. Will it not sit across Vladimir Putin and Russia and negotiate an end to this war until all those 4 regions have been completely liberated?
Well, I don't have any flexibility to discuss this issue, because right now it's a formal decision of the President and the National Security and Defense Council that we will no longer be involved in any negotiations with President Putin. So we do not recognize his power, authority, and willingness to negotiate any peace deal with Ukraine. But speaking generally, we see that Russia is trying to push militarily in Ukraine, claiming, and Russia is taking those absurdish decisions to annex some more Ukrainian territories, and is at the same time making statements that they would like to settle down this situation peacefully. Of course, their real actions are contradicting their statements, and as long as they're not ready to negotiate the issue of liberating Ukrainian territories, we don't see the issue to negotiate with them. What will be negotiated? So we, right now, with sometimes on the bilateral basis, but mostly with the assistance of our big partners and friends, including Turkey, we negotiating the exchange of the prisoners, some other minor technical issues. But the peaceful solutions, the Russia would need to, first of all, to turn to respect the international law. Then, of course, it would be a base for negotiations. Right now, there is no base and issue to negotiate with them.
Okay. Bohdan Yaremenko, thank you very much for joining us here on the NewsHour. Do enjoy listening to your analysis. Thank you.